Hello and welcome to Phallawsophy. I'm your host, Jennifer Fallaw-Doering, and tonight we're talking about false prophets. One of the listeners asked me to take a look on another show I'm on, asked me to take a look at a show that they saw by David Nino Rodriguez June 24th. Of this year, 21, Revelations with Jeff Shepard from Right On Radio. And he had an interesting perspective. And I didn't have time to watch the whole thing before clients today, but, I was a little concerned. I was a little concerned about some of the things that I heard. I'm not trying to call him a false prophet. I'm not trying to say anything about anybody. But it led me to tonight's topic because I really kind of wanted to talk to many of those who have just embarked on a spiritual journey. There's a lot of people waking up. There's a lot of people searching. I believe David Nino Rodriguez is doing that. He is just getting into all of this, and he says keeping an open mind, and that's good, and that's fine. But there's certain things along your journey that you need to look out for. Many of you that are waking up right now and have been called to start a spiritual journey are what we call light workers. Comes at all times in your life, some early, some late. And it is the call to shed light and truth, and we get closer to God, ultimate goal here, and to raise your vibration and to help others around you raise their vibration. And God vibrates the highest, and he is divine. He is all-knowing and all-powerful, and infinitely more powerful than anything dark. And that is important to know always. There are a lot of theories. There's a lot of religions. There's a lot of philosophies. And along the way, I kind of wanted to give everybody some basic guidelines so that they know, you could get it confused. It's very easy to get confused. But there's some basic truths that you can stick to that'll help you decide who is a prophet and who's a false prophet. God said he would never leave us alone, and has always sent teachers and healers and prophets and good guys in every corner of life to help us along our way. And the dark side knows that, and they try to infiltrate the places where those who are searching and those who are shining and those who are getting close to God or those who are close to God would congregate because many reasons. Control. They can't create on their own. They have to create through us. And if the vibration of the planet rises so high, evil can't stay here. And they know that. And so when they see groups of people shining and they see groups of people happy and they see the population doing well and everybody's having a good time and everybody's being loving, they have to divide. They have to enslave. They have to bring everybody down. Oh, well, your vibration's getting way too high, getting way too happy over there. We're going to have to do something about that. And I'm going to tell you why. But I listened to some of the show, And he was talking about how there was a time when he was driving along the road and God was standing in the middle of the road in front of him. Didn't give us any information about what God said or did. I'm not saying that didn't happen. But it was interesting that in saying that, I was pulled in a little more. Like you got my, like a little bit more trust. You got a little more trust from me here. So I'm going to listen. And he went on to say how he knows the scriptures very well. And then he said that evil knows the scriptures very, very well. Word for word. He told us that he works with an a woman that was raised in a Satanist cult. You know what I'm talking about. The cabal. Big bad stuff. Saw hundreds of people murdered, and she is recovered now. And I'm not saying she's not. God bless her. I hope she is. But that he learned a lot from this person, and that she does shows with her now, and I'm fine with that. I was like, okay, good. Everybody can be forgiven. That's fine. It's not her fault. She was raised in it. Whatever. It's not my business. But what stuck out to me was he started telling everybody they need to get right with God. And so he gains everybody's trust. And then he starts talking about the good side to Satanism called Luciferians. And the light. And I'm like, no. Okay. Not good. And, I could have misunderstood the whole thing. I didn't have a lot of time. But I'm using it as an example. I'm not trying to bash anybody, but he implies that the light is Lucifer, and I'm not going to say that name again. So he gains your trust, and then he starts to manipulate things. Starts to use words and And I was like, what is he doing here? What is he doing? So he talks about how, then he goes on to say, either way, the Antichrist will rise and the New World Order will happen because he's read Revelations. Okay, well, so he gains our trust, and he tells us that, well, the evil plays both sides of the coin. Yes, they do. And I'm going to explain that in a minute. Yes, they do. But he just did the same thing. So you have to really listen. Okay? And you have to pick your side, and you have to stand your ground. And you understand that all truth and all true light comes from God. All love comes from God. There is nothing more powerful. And I just felt a turn in the conversation. And granted, I could have misunderstood, but this is how they do it. So let's just use it as an example. Let's walk away from those two people and say, let's say somebody did that to us. So they come off as good guy, and they start talking about the good guys and how they know so much about the good guys and how they're so knowledgeable. And then they turn the tables and try to slip in concepts that would have you doubt the real good guys and would have you think of the enemy as a good guy. And well, maybe I should listen to that. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe it's okay. Maybe no, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. That's a fast track to a bunch of trouble right there. And then he said that evil has dominion over the earth. That God gave him dominion over the earth. I know I'm not very versed in the Bible. I know a few things. I've read some. I couldn't quote much to you, but why would God ever do that? And that goes against anything that I've been told personally. And I asked God one time, actually after this, I asked him, I said, he says evil has dominion over the earth, over the world. Is that true? He says, I own all worlds. When I talk to Jesus in meditation, he's never referred to, he's never used any names. They don't say the names. They say fear. That's how they refer to the bad guys. Fear. So don't use many names. Try to use other names, things like that. We don't want to draw any attention to yourself by those people or those things energetically. So think about it. Even if it says that in the Bible, if it does, who would write that? And why? Now, here's my problem. I talked to Jesus in meditation once about the Bible. Was it Jesus? No, it was Michael. It was Archangel Michael. And I asked him about good sources, for information. And we were talking about something like that. And I said, I was talking about the Bible. He said, that is not a reliable source. What? We're supposed to believe every word, and we're supposed to hang on every word and follow every word to the T, right? And he said, well, which version? Which words? And I said, so the Bible's not, he says, no. He says, the truth is in there. Would not allow that to be taken out. But it has been interpreted and changed and manipulated to suit man many times. So when you're reading the Bible, they say, why would there be Bible study if you just follow every word? Why would there be interpretations if you just follow every word? Because you're supposed to trust your instincts, and the truth is still in there. And you'll know the truth when you hear it. It won't feel like fear. It won't feel like dread. It won't feel like imprisonment. It won't feel like you are unworthy. It'll feel like love. And it'll feel like peace. It'll feel like wisdom. And that is why you need to read it and find it. So why would somebody write that into the Bible, that evil has dominion over the earth? And this guy that was talking is so sure that everything in Revelation is going to happen. How do we know that we're reading the real revelations? How do we know that this isn't like some, we've heard of the 20-year plan, and we've heard of the 16-year plan. How about, what if this is a 2,000-year plan written into Revelations? How do we know that? Maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe we have all together in a loving union of souls. A family. We are all a family. We're all God's children. I mean, it's true. What if we started acting like a family and that never had to happen? But he sat there in the show saying, well, whatever you do, it's going to happen anyway. I think not. I have more faith in the power of God and the love that we all share with him and with each other than that. And maybe this is one of these opportunities that we have over the course of history to finally get it right, to see through. We're seeing through all kinds of lies and politics and medicine and the courts and everything else, the media. Maybe take a look at the lies that have been put into our most sacred of religions. The lies that separate you from each other, and from God. The angels told me one time that, I always believe this is common ground. This is a place where evil exists and good exists and this exists and up and down and back and forth and all this other stuff. And they told me one time, and it surprised me, evil was never supposed to be here. Never. They broke in. And they have been able to remain here in the minds of people. Through influence, through fear, through control. What if everyone all at once said no? They talk about the third dimension and the fifth dimension and all that stuff. Well, I'm starting to get on board with that. I don't really understand it. Maybe someday I will. But I do understand that the vibration on this planet, possibly this dimension, since they've infiltrated it, stays at a level that allows them to be here. And they continually want to lower that so that they thrive. And they'll do things to create mass panic, mass despair, jealousy. And you'll see it. It's funny when you start to look. Jesus said to me to see through the eyes of love. And when you start practicing that, you learn a lot. It's just kind of a cool thing to do. Try it. It's hard. It's hard sometimes. Recently, I have a friend who was going on and on and on and on, so far as to curse God and the angels and everything I've told him, because something didn't turn out the way he wanted. And then we went on to hear about everything didn't turn out the way he wanted. And then, he went so far as to say God and the angels were cursing him, were making this happen to him, which is ridiculous. And, I almost, me, I'm the God and the angel lady. I'm so, we'll start talking about my family like that, It's just like, I was going to react. I started to react. I said something like, well, I'm sorry I failed you so bad, And then I stopped. And all of a sudden I feel, when I was starting to get mad, I asked God, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be above this now. I could react with ego, put words in his mouth and say, well, you're saying this about me and because I got something wrong. But I asked God, I said, how should I handle this? How can I help in this situation? And I also heard in my head before I said that, I heard in my head, that's why I can't get away with anything. Okay, but I'm trying. Okay. I heard, this is not always going to be easy. I think it said something like, sometimes you're going to have to go down into the trenches. And I'm like, okay, how can I help in this situation? And I was just filled, when I was feeling mad, I was filled with this loving, just wave of love. And I just started smiling, and he's just typing away, typing away, typing away, typing away, just shoom, shoom, message, message. And I just said, because he's a friend, I tell my friends I love him. I do. It's a big love fest over here. And so I'm like, you know what? It's you're damn lucky I love you, because you are a pain in the ass. So it wasn't as loving as it should have been. But it stopped. The typing stopped. It stopped him in his tracks. Stopped him dead cold. And there was nothing, and I knew he was thinking about it. I knew he was thinking about it. I'm like, he's either going to go off on me like you would not believe, or something good's going to happen. And something good happened. He calmed down. And then he started listening. And I said, you just have to try again. What else are you going to do? You're going to lay down and cry? There's nothing else you can do. Just try again. And I learned something more than he did that day. I learned something that day. I'm like, all right, I can do this. All right. I don't have to react every time. I don't have to be selfish and think about he hurt my feelings, and blah, blah, blah. I put that aside. And I can see through the eyes of love and understand where this person is coming from. And it felt good. And you know what it did is it completely diffused whatever bad guys were standing around and trying to get both of us just so upset. Completely diffused the whole situation. I mean, you could actually feel it disperse. The influence. So that was neat. No, we weren't fighting. We were still friends. And yeah, he is a pain in the ass, and I do love him. I love all my friends. But they were never supposed to be here. They show us that in everything that they do. They tell us that we are insignificant and small, that we are unworthy, that we're in classes, that we were, there's elite bloodlines, or there's whatever. They show us in everything that they do that we're not. And we miss that part of it. That's what we need to do now, is we need to start looking at that. Behaviors. Read through the lines. See what's really being said. They come out as as some people in Congress will do this. Current Speaker of the House, perhaps. See through eyes of love here. Don't like her. Will come out like this sweet little, I'm a mother and I'm this and I'm that. And it's like, no, you're an evil witch of the worst kind. And then do things that are so evil after saying things that sound good. They'll name things that enslave people and take their rights and things. They'll name laws, like for the people. What people are you talking about? So evil has infiltrated every part of society to turn people against God. This guy was saying the ultimate goal here by the big L word dude, that I'm not saying his name again, is to corrupt enough of the pieces of God, that's us, so that he can take control and be God. That's pretty cool, but you can't create. That's ridiculous. So, let's see. These other bad religions, they teach no rules, do what you want, no conscience, no consequent, no remorse, lower your vibration, lower your vibration, lower your vibration. So they can use you and influence you to create the world that they want and enslave the masses and be superior. So we know that. This is a corruption of your true character. That's why it feels wrong. That's why pain feels bad. That's why hate and jealousy and all those things feel bad. Yes, critical race theory. That's why they're trying to teach division. When the reality is that, just like Jesus said, we are all brothers and sisters. We are all brothers and sisters. And we need to stand up as a family. So you're not going to do this to my brothers and sisters anymore. Love conquers all. That's absolutely true. Because love is the highest vibration. It is the most powerful. It is the light. It is the seventh element. Someday I'll write a book on that. I just don't know enough to write a book on that. So don't take it. All right. The seventh element is love. It is the light. It is the element that houses all others. It is the element of creation. It is intelligent. And it lives within you and me and everything that has not rejected it. And the more you shine, and the more you love, and the more you be who you truly are inside, the more light you wield. The more you pull in, the more you push out, the more you shine. And the higher the vibration is in you, and others follow. Lead by example. So when you see somebody talking about these things, there's certain things that I want you guys to think about. There are golden rules in the universe, but very few. People get turned off on religion because, like I said earlier, evil from the beginning. Well, religion was the rule. They would rule the masses, and they became corrupted because of the money they'd bring in, the power that they had. I'm sure they all started out with innocent origins and good intentions. And then you get those in there, or those with evil intent get in there and change things. There's certain things. I wrote it down. Let me see. Okay. Okay, the contradictions like in the Bible, the things that we're told. Okay? This is how you find the truth. Okay, there is truth in there. They tell you that you're loved unconditionally, correct? But then you're going to go to hell if you get divorced. Like in my Catholic religion. It's like, well, doesn't God understand my situation? I mean, he was an alcoholic. I mean, he's ruining everything. And if I didn't divorce him, he was going to die. He wasn't going to get clean. And I divorced him and now he's clean. So I'm still going to hell? No, you're not going to hell. But they tell you that you love unconditionally, and then they put conditions on absolutely everything. The truth is that all are loved unconditionally. Period. Now, there's certain things that you could do that are corruption of your character. They lower your vibration to such a place where you pretty much can't get in. You know why there's no evil up in the higher heaven dimensions in heaven? Because they can't get in. Because the vibration there is too high. They can't go there. So they have to keep, they probably started at the lowest possible vibration and then start corrupting their way up in the dimensions. You know, like, the thing is that when you know, like the 10 Commandments, I'm sure it was the 10 Commitments in the beginning. I'm sure it was absolutely loving, but they had to turn it into control so that you would reject it somehow, because some people reject control. Or to control the masses. You do this and not that. Or you're going to go to hell. Well, the thing is if you're vibrating high and you're seeing through the eyes of love and you're being who you really are, and that's the goal. You know, if you don't want to do those things. You don't want to kill people. You don't want to take from people. You know, that's not love. That's destruction. That's the lower vibrations. Another thing we're told is all God's children are equal. Equal in the eyes of the God, right? But there was a time when people were not worthy to read the word. And so they could tell you whatever they wanted forever. If you couldn't even read it, they wouldn't let you be educated enough to read it. And then when people started getting educated enough, well, we need to change this. We need to change this now because they can see it. So they tell you that you're equal, but then they throw you into all these classifications of middle class and poor, and you know, the lepers and the this and the that, and the, you know, and my favorite here's my favorite. I have a real problem with this is the divine bloodlines or whatever, royal bloodlines. Let me tell you something. Your bloodline has nothing to do with the soul that's inhabiting your body. All it has to do is what your body looks like. Okay? You could have the most magnificent, loving soul put into a very limited body. And we've seen that. We've seen that with the autistic. We've seen that with the, what is it? I forgot. What is it? You know what I'm talking about. Special needs. Absolutely beautiful people. This divine bloodline. Really? So you get to rule. And we have no chance ever of that. Okay, that feels like control. This word dominion. Come on. Evil has infiltrated every part of the human society. I don't know what's going on off-world, right? But I'm sure it's not the only place. Here's another one that's going to shock you a little bit, you know. I'm not trying to be, but think about it. If they've gotten a hold of all the teachings of the First Testament, the Second Testament, they held back books from us. They tell you that Jesus says, no one comes to the Father but through me. It's like I'm almost ashamed to say that I've had a problem with that. Even as a child, I was like, what about everybody else? What about the Jewish people? What about people who are loving family and they just live out in the middle of nowhere in some kind of village. And they're just really good to everybody and they don't hurt anybody. They don't get to go. Now, I love Jesus, don't get me wrong, and he is absolutely real. I work with him all the time. But I think at the time when Jesus came to remind people, to snap them out of this, to bring them closer to God, to be an example. And I think when he said that, I think those words were twisted. And I think what he actually meant at the time, people thought that they were crap. They didn't think they were worthy to read the word. They didn't think they were worthy to, they'd run from elites and all that. They were peasants and bad, and they were told that they were the scum of the earth. And he comes around telling them, God loves you. I'm like, no, I'm not worthy. No, I could never. I'll never be accepted. And I think what he said and what he told him is so much loving, so much more loving than the other statement. Is if you think you're unworthy to come to the Father, then come through me. Then come with me. Walk with me. I will take you to the Father. Now, do you feel the energy in that? That's Jesus. That's who I know. They take this, they've got this religion, and this beautiful religion, they're going to corrupt it, and they're going to say, well, everyone has to be this way. Everybody has to be under the control of the church. Everybody has to do what we say. We're going to conquer your lands, and we're going to take all your stuff and all this stuff. If you don't do that, we're going to kill thousands of people. If you don't. And then you hear, no one comes to the Father except through me. So like the Jewish people, they already know God. I know, I don't want to get all into that. People have their stuff, but what I'm saying is if God loves everyone, and for the most part, there were people out there doing and loving and being love, but didn't have any idea about it. Are they not worthy? Are they not going home? Because these people in this church over here say that they can't? No. I work with Jesus. I have Jewish people come to me and they ask for medical intuitive readings or healings. And I said, well, I work with Jesus. Is that okay? They're like, yeah. And so, and I said to, the other day I had a Jewish lady, wonderful woman. She wanted me to look inside her body and tell her what's going on. And that is one of my strongest gifts. So I was like, well, I'm working with Jesus, and I said, Jesus, she's Jewish. Is that okay? He goes, so was I. Jesus is funny. He is funny. But you see the way they twist things to confuse you? Just a slight change of a phrase. No one comes except through me. That means you do it this way, you do it my way, or you go to hell. That's not Jesus. That's not unconditionally loved. So the way this whole thing works is that, if you're living in love and you're vibrating love, your vibration is high. You match, when you die, you match the vibration of heaven. You go home. Those that are vibrating low, those that love to hate and love to hurt and love it and enjoy it and want it and turn against God, curse God, do all these things, their vibration is very low. They can't get in. God doesn't kick anybody out. It's up to you. It really is. Why would somebody who likes all those things want to be in heaven? They would not be happy there. They would not be happy there. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the 10 Commandments was probably the 10 Commitments. It was probably much more loving. So, when you're listening to people, the advice is beware of false prophets. Not all. Not what do you think? Will we get a handful a couple hundred years after Jesus is here and we only listen to them forevermore? But then these humans can go in and change everything they said, right? You need to worship from here. You need to think about it from here. But mostly from here. Because you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. Times when I've read things from the Bible and it's something hit me, I felt it. I just want to understand that there are many beautiful religions. Like everybody's a lot of talk about the Catholic Church and how it went bad and then the Pope's evil and all that stuff. Okay, that's upsetting. Okay, but not too shocking. I was raised Catholic. Those people, they're loving people. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of guilt. And I don't like that part. But it's a beautiful religion when you do it right. It is. It takes Jesus' teachings and everything very seriously. And if you find the right parish, those people aren't going in there thinking about doing all these terrible things we hear about. They don't know anything about what's going on in the Vatican. All they know is they're going to their local church and they're congregating with their people and they're praising God. And they're trying to do the right thing, you know? But at the heart of everything, the place where God is found is in love. That is God. That is where infinite possibilities reside. That is where they reside. And there are some golden rules, okay? First and foremost, love God. Be love. Tell the truth. And be the truth. And be true to who you really are in your divine self form. Because it's only the influences. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we didn't have all of this negativity bombarding us constantly all the time? If we didn't have the predators, if we didn't have all the confusion, if we didn't have so many working so hard to be first and to be best. I mean, we all can, strive to do your best. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those that push others out of the way to be the richest, to be the most powerful. That is not divine. If you follow these rules to be love, love God, tell the truth, be the truth, everything else follows. Everything falls into those categories. You can say, what about this and that? Well, apply it to one of these, It all falls into those categories. So whatever religion you are, if you're doing your best to love your neighbor and to your family and be that way, you're doing a good job. There's something else I want to talk about with this. Off my soapbox there. So There's so much that goes behind. Start taking a look at the language of everything. And start taking a look at the way people come on as virtuous and good and loving and all these things. And they start telling you all these bad things, and you're just like, what just happened? I'm totally confused now. You know? Like, let's just take an example of the way that man uses religion to control people. The divine feminine. Somebody was talking about that the other day. I haven't seen Simon Park's thing on it yet. I've been busy. But it's interesting how a lot of topics come up at the same time. I love that. I love it when I see that. Everybody's talking about the same thing at once. You ever notice that? That's the lesson for the day. So a long time ago, there is a Mother God. There is a Holy Trinity. There's God, the Father, and the Son, child. They are all together at one, but it helps me to like separate them so I can think about it. One God, all together, right? Because it all came from the Father, okay? Or the Mother, whichever, I don't know. But from what I know, there is a Mother God. God is the unmoved mover. He's the one that holds everything in place. He is truth. He is creation. And the female aspect, think about it. You need a mother and a father to create child, right? I think God just started popping everything out, you know? I mean, we were created in the image and likeness. And you'll see the similarities in that across all the different species in the universe. You'll see similarities in that. So a long time ago, actually, people used to think it was Mother Earth, the Mother God. Mother God wasn't the Earth, but, was the creator. Mother was the creator. Men didn't like that. They wanted to gain control. And so what they did is they conquered the women and took and changed everything. And then it was just the Father. And then later on called the divine feminine the Holy Spirit, or the Holy Ghost, I think it was first. And it confused the hell out about everybody. And everybody ever since was like, now what's the Holy Ghost? What is that? But the mother is the aspect of God that is the mover, the activator. And so it's interesting. They will completely, nothing's off limits to these evil ones. Nothing's off limits. Evil was cast out of heaven by completely turning against God and embracing the opposite of love and creation. And then I think it just naturally popped them out. I do, because when you do that, your vibration goes down so low. Maybe the big bad guy was cast down to the very bottom. The very bottom. The very lowest. I don't know. I'm going to have to do meditation on that, find about the whole war in heaven and all that. But you start taking a look at our history. Start taking a look at what we know, we've been told to believe. There is only one truth. And as that is God. We are all housed and living within the body of God. I was talking to him last night. I don't know what I was talking about. I was talking about stuff. And we were on the conversation of, I was feeling a little bit down. I was talking about being loved. Yeah, I'm trying to be loved over here. And I don't even know if I'm doing a good job. I don't even know if I'm doing a good job. I'm trying to do a good job. And I said, I get a lot of confirmation with people, but not really like when I do predictions and things on the shows. And he said, you're doing a good job. And that made me feel better, And then he says, I love you. I was like, oh, it made me cry. I love you too. And he says, walk with me. And so we're walking, and beautiful Grecian area, courtyard, have all kinds of fun and meditation. And he looks at me and he said something that I didn't expect. And he said, I used to play with you when you were a child under the tree. And I'm like, here? I don't remember that. What tree? Because like in where I go to meditate in 6th level of heaven, there's a house there. There's a tree there. I call it my tree. And he said that everything on the 7th level of heaven is the true dimension. It's the center of everything. And that's everything that was ever created. The true first separation. So true self of everything is there. And nothing there is bad because the vibration is the highest. So he was talking about me being there in the 7th dimension as a child's soul. And I'm like, I said, like a human child, or he goes, no, like bounce you on my knee, my child. And I was just thinking about it for a second, and mind's going. Everything I know, everything I don't know. And I'm like, so I know that everybody is a division of you. And you love everybody like yourself. He said, no. I love everyone like my child. And that whenever every soul was created, it was created as a child, and it was grown and nurtured in the true reality until it was ready to go off and start creating and start experiencing and all that. And I'm like, that's amazing information. God, I'd like to remember that. God, I was like, it would be such a great memory to have. He goes, you will someday. I was like, oh, cool. And like when I'm alive someday, because that'd be kind of cool. And I said, well, oh, when they say, so it's not just like you love yourself, because we're a division of you in so many different ways, and that's why you love us. And that's why you're not separated from us. He goes, well, your children are a piece of you. There's a piece of you that goes into every child. And how do you love your children? I said, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you how much. Because I love you more. This is the kind of loving stuff you hear over there in heaven when you're meditating. And it's like, man, that's good. This is the kind of love that I'm talking about. This is the kind of love that I have seen over the years, doing these healings, doing these meditations. I'm not making this up. That's too good. I mean, I am too human for that. I was telling you a story about the friend, and I wanted to say this. Oh, I would say this, and then I would say that, and I would fight, and I would do all these things. And, when you walk with God, and you really want to walk with God, keep it simple. Stay centered in love. Always pray. And you have to remember that nothing divine is forced. Control is not divine. Jealousy is not divine. Greed is not divine. Enjoying hurting somebody or destroying something is not divine. Putting yourself above another, that's ego. all of these lower vibrations are very damaging to you as a soul. Because when you come in, you're clean. Clean. And we exist in many places and many dimensions, possibly at once. That's why we have to forget. Keep it simple. Stay focused on love. Remember that you are so loved, like he told me. Me? So many faults over here. I was like, got so many faults. And if you're talking about, if that was my religion, my Catholic religion, not following all the rules over here at all. Haven't been in a while. Haven't been going to the church in a while. Sorry to say. Although it is a beautiful religion. If I choose any to do anything with, I choose that one for me. But I am like so half-assed Catholic. And I think it was when I found out that my mother told me that she was going to go to hell because she divorced my father. And they were married in the church. My father was a raging alcoholic. He would not get better, no matter what she did. And she saved his life. Everyone in the entire family on both sides was better because of that decision that seemed like a tragedy at the time. And she was a villain. But because she did that, he got sober. And he was sober for 25 years. And I got my dad back. He would have died. And I got a wonderful stepmother after that. That I loved very, very much. And, God knows the plan. He knows your intention. Your intention is most important. He's right there with you. And that love is unconditional. So when you listen to people and they're telling you some cool trick, some spell or whatever, I don't get into all that. Because I think manipulation is not divine. I didn't get into that. I lost my page. That's what I did. The other rule of the universe is that you don't interfere with free will. Because that is a piece of God in everybody. And they need to be able to run their plan. They need to be able to experience. They need to be free to do so. And you don't interfere with free will. You don't cast some spell on somebody to love you. The hell? Why would you want something fake like that? Keep it real. Keep it divine. And if somebody is telling you something that doesn't feel right here, walk away. But if somebody's talking to you and you're getting the chills, you feel joy, it's almost like it's resonating with your soul, then listen. Evil has a way of coming on and being very charming, very manipulative, using words like I said and spinning them around to gain your trust. But they cannot maintain the facade. They may walk in and say, "Hi, I'm the light." Like in meditation, try this. Those of you who've been taking my classes, something comes up to you and say, if you don't feel right, like, well, maybe this isn't really an angel, or maybe this isn't really, say, shine for me. And if they can't do it, if they cannot be a vehicle for the light and shine for you, pull out. It's bad guy. So, there's so much I could go on and on about. But it's Friday. It's been a long week. I'm tired. I say that every week. But you guys, there's so many pitfalls in this discovery, this spiritual journey. Somebody says, well, if you do this and you do that, and I think there was something in shamanism, it was Toltec shamanism, it was called It's like they're going to go up and they knock somebody in such a way that it knocks the soul right out of the body. Why the hell would you do that? Why would you do that? And then they had somebody that would take somebody's life force energy. And I thought it was cool. And I'm like, that is a vampire, first and foremost. You take too much life force energy for somebody, they die. They get severely ill. So there's certain things, certain practices that if it's manipulating somebody, if it's going against their free will, if it's harming anybody in any way, and anything that makes you believe that God, at the center of all there is not the most loving and most powerful of all, walk away. Because you don't need that in your life. That is just another attempt to corrupt you. All right. This person sent me off after watching that video today. And I was like, oh my God, this sets me off so bad. And somebody else asked me to do the show on how loved we are. How God really loves people. And just that little story I told you. Just that little story. You know, I could walk up to God and he could sit me down and say, you know, I have a list of everything that I'm concerned about with you. I'm sure over the years. And I'd be like, yes, you're right. Never. This never happened. I haven't seen that from the angels. Jesus, I have not cried more in meditation than when I am with Jesus and I watch him heal people. Or we cross spirits over and we do this thing where you shower them in grace for just a minute, just a second, so they can see, they can pop out of this illusion they're in long enough to see the angels, long enough to see Jesus. And when they see Jesus, oh my God, make you bawl your eyes out. They're like, oh, I remember you. And then they go home, and it's just like the most beautiful thing. Oh, God, there is more love than you could ever, ever, ever comprehend. And so don't ever feel alone. Don't ever feel like you're not loved, because you are. And it never, ever, ever ends. And everything else is a lie. So if you're out there seeking truth, and it led you to a spiritual journey, seek truth. And don't listen to any more lies. All right, well, I'm going to get going. Going to have a nice, fun heat wave weekend. Get on the boat. Go and have a lot of good times with the fam. I love you all. And thank you for following me. Thank you for listening. Share it with your friends if you liked it. And I do have openings this week at jenniferfallaw.com. I'm so slow on putting these up. Right there. You can also go to my radio station 24 hours a day for absolutely free and with no commercials and listen to all kinds of cool shows about spirituality, about aliens, about politics, about all kinds of stuff. All kinds of neat way out there stuff. We have hosts. We have different shows. It's not just me. It's all kinds of shows. Streaming 24/7. Listen to Beacon of Light Radio. I want to thank you all for joining me here tonight, and I will be back next week with something else. I don't know what I'm doing yet. All right. Good night.